Hello and welcome to another episode of Listen to Lisa. I'm KSN Storm Track 3 Chief Meteorologist Lisa Teachman, and I have a special guest with me, another one of our meteorologists who has been here at KSN for the last 3 years and is getting ready to set sail into retirement. Everybody, please welcome meteorologist Jack Boston. Jack, it is a pleasure to have you on our podcast tonight.
Well, I really appreciate that, Lisa. It has been such a great experience for me working here at KSN for the last 3 years.
Now tell us a little bit, Jack, about where you started and how did you come to KSN?
Well, it all started back in the middle 80s. I got a job doing the morning and noon weather in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I worked there for about 6 years. And then I moved up to Green Bay, Wisconsin. So you detecting a theme here?
Just a little bit of a theme.
Yeah, I liked the winters when I was younger.
But so you liked the winters when you were playing in the snow, but
Yes.
What about when it comes to forecasting? Because winter forecasting is actually one of the most challenging things that a meteorologist can do.
Oh, it's definitely challenging, but that's what I do, and forecasting snowfall amounts and where the heaviest band of snow is going to be is very fun. It really is. And, well, I've been at it for about almost 50 years now.
53 years since you first started working, and
Right.
we've had so many discussions. We started talking about your potential retirement probably about a year ago, and you knew that it was coming time because you wanted to spend time with your wonderful wife, Karen, that we all absolutely adore, and the rest of your family too. Because
That's right.
you've been on a schedule. Somebody has had a schedule on you for 53 years now, and now
True.
it is time for you to make your own schedule.
That's right. Not worry about setting the alarm clock anymore, especially filling in for Jack Maney on those weekend mornings. That was a challenge.
But you did such a great job with
oh,
it.
thank
And I saw
you.
tremendous growth with you over the last
Oh.
couple of years when you came in at one point, because you were on TV in Wisconsin, and then you
Right.
decided to sidetrack and you went away from TV meteorology to the private sector.
Right.
Why did you decide to go into the private sector? And how long were you in the private sector?
Well, I was kind of at a point where I didn't feel like I could not find a full-time TV position in Milwaukee when I came back to Milwaukee from Green Bay. So AccuWeather in State College, Pennsylvania, they had an opening, and I applied, and I got a call from a fellow by the name of Dave Dombeck, who is a veteran of AccuWeather and has since retired. But he called me. He had his family down at Disney World, and he offered me the job from, remember when we had phone booths?
Oh, phone booths?
From a phone booth at Walt Disney World in Orlando, and gave me a call and offered me the job, and I was there for about 20 years. It was great experience. I learned a lot about long-range forecasting, as well as forecasting for utilities and different transportation outfits.
For railroads, for also
Railroads.
for car manufacturers. Not to name any car manufacturers,
No,
that kind of thing.
we don't
because
wanna
they're
do
not
that.
sponsoring the Listen to Lisa podcast, that's for sure.
No, they're not.
But when you do something like that and you have to create your own tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings, because
Right.
if you have, say, for example, a car manufacturing plant, you have to protect the people that are there, but also different things that they have to do within that factory.
Right.
And that's a lot to have on a meteorologist. People don't realize that in the private sector, that's what you're doing.
Oh, that's exactly right. And, we want to be able to tell those car manufacturers, car dealers, hey, better get the cars inside because there's hail on the way.
And
So,
speaking of hail, speaking of tornadoes, this same
Right.
company being having a really big impact when it came to railroads and the Greensburg tornado that was coming through in 2007.
oh, that's right. Yeah. And we covered that, of course, right from
Stopping
right from our
trains
Wichita
from going
office.
into Greensburg, from coming in from two different directions, because if that had not
Exactly.
happened, you would have had train derailments.
Oh, they would have been derailed. There might have been
Yeah.
leakage of poisonous fumes or whatever, whatever can happen during a train derailment. So yeah, it feels good to have that responsibility, to be honest with you. And you get the forecast right. That's very rewarding. You know that. I'm speaking as somebody that takes forecasting and accuracy very, very seriously. And I think I've learned a lot, even though I'm a little older than you are, and I'm at the end of my career in TV weather. I've learned so much from you over the last 3 years, and I really appreciate that.
And likewise, too, I've learned so much from you about the long-range forecasting when it comes to the different global weather features, when it comes to La Nina, El Nino, and the neutral phases, and how that could impact our weather here at home. I've learned a lot from you, so the feeling is mutual. And
I appreciate that.
One thing that I wish for, which I know this wish won't be granted unless you want to stay a little bit longer.
She keeps saying that.
I keep
every
trying.
day.
I keep trying. But I really wish that our paths would have crossed earlier in my career, because I think that you are a wonderful forecaster, a wonderful human being, and just your whole family too. We've been through, on a personal level, both you and I, quite a bit in our families.
Yeah,
and
we
we've
really
been there.
have.
We've been there for each other.
We've had some rough times in the last few years, and you're one of the few people that I really feel comfortable enough to really talk to about things like that. So
yeah, we're a big family in the weather department.
Yeah,
That's
we
for sure.
really are.
And we are going to miss you. But so why did you decide to get away from the private sector and come back into broadcasting?
Well, actually, it was during COVID in June of 2020, and the company I was working for, they did a big, what they call reduction in force. And after 20 years of service, they said, well, sorry, your job isn't here anymore. And I was on the street for a few months, but it wasn't long, and I got a job here in Wichita at the station across town. And then after about a year, I contacted the news director here at KSN, and they asked me for an interview, and everything just fell into place.
It just clicked.
I really, really enjoyed this job, probably overall more than any other job I've had, to be honest with you. And you are a large part of that.
Oh, thank you,
Lisa.
Thank you.
You really are.
What would you say the best part was, listening to the country music that I had to make you listen to
repeatedly
every day? So whoever is doing forecasting always gets control of the radio inside the weather center. And I think all of us meteorologists have to have some type of music that's going on in the background, because we're inside the studio. We have a lot that's going on around us, but I don't know about having music helps me to concentrate and to focus a little bit more.
Me too.
But you would tend to get here before me, and you would be forecasting, and you would listen to the 70s rock and the 80s, which there's some of that I like to listen to as well. But you're just you have grown to have an appreciation and a love of country music now. Admit it.
Love of country music. Okay, I'll admit that.
There are some lyrics that you are always going to remember. We're not going to say them here on the podcast.
And you used to play them over and over for me.
Yeah, I did. It would be the same song as The Natural While. I figured I might want to go ahead and change maybe my playlist to something else.
And sometimes when you would come in, because I would get in about 45 minutes before you. When you would get in, you would say, "What's that?" Because I do tend to listen to more obscure music sometimes too.
Right.
I guess I got a very wide range of musical taste.
And speaking of music, you also play guitar. This is one of the things that you're going to be doing in retirement.
Yes, and even I'd even like to take some lessons. It's something I've always wanted to do. I have a couple of 6-string guitars, a 12-string guitar that I've actually had since I first came to Wichita, actually back in 1982, working for a private weather company here. My boss was Mike Smith.
The Mike Smith, who was chief meteorologist here at KSN.
Everybody must be familiar with Mike Smith. He was a great boss, and I got a guitar here in Wichita back in 1982, and I still have it.
Still have it.
And I still have it. Yep.
What did you always like about forecasting? What are you going to miss the most?
Oh my gosh, everything. Honestly, I can't think of a better answer. And obviously, since I'm a kind of a weather weenie, you would say, whenever the weather gets really ugly, it's when we're all at our best, right?
It is.
Tornadoes, thunderstorms, hailstorms. So I'm certainly in the right part of the country for that.
Do you think you'll ever go back?
To television?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I'm going to go back to television, Lisa. But as
I don't know.
you
You're doing a great job on this podcast. You never know. You'll be dragged into the digital era here when it comes to doing something podcast. I don't know.
Well,
or-
I may do something like that. Yeah. But you can be sure that I'll be following the weather every day while I'm still able for the rest of my life. Okay.
This means we're still going to have forecast discussions. He's just not physically going to be in the
That's-
building
that's
anymore.
true.
But you'll
That's
still be
true.
chatting with us. Hey, did you see this on the Euro? Did you see this on the GFS?
Exactly.
It's always the same type of debates that we have inside the Weather Center every single afternoon. When we sit down to do that forecast, we will have a conversation amongst ourselves.
Yes, we will.
Hey, what about this? What about that? Because it's not just one person that's doing the forecast. We keep it going around the clock. What Ronell had in the morning would get updated by you or Maney or Lucy, and then I
Right.
would update it again in the evening, and then the clock would continue the next day and so forth.
And the expression "two heads are better than one"
Yes.
really applies here, because you'll point out things that I didn't see, and I'll point out some stuff that maybe you didn't see.
Right.
And we'll come up with a good final product.
Yeah. Are you going to miss doing the graphics? Because you did a lot of that weather producing in the background. A lot of the graphics that you would see me or one of the other meteorologists have, you would create those.
That's right. This graphic system that we have has been it's very challenging. It's very complex. But once you learn it and you learn the capabilities, then it's a blast to make something that is understandable to the viewer and something that you can talk about.
You are wearing a golf shirt. And when we talked about
Of
doing
course.
this podcast, you mentioned, I'm going to wear one of my golf shirts.
Yes,
And
I
there's a
did.
reason for that.
That's right, because I am going to be able to go hit the links probably about, I don't know, probably every few days I'll be out there. And I also want to take some golf lessons.
So you're going to do the
But,
guitar lessons. You're going to do golf lessons.
Yep.
What other kind of lessons are you going to do? Is Karen, your wife, going to rope you into doing something else?
Oh, probably. I'm not sure. We haven't really discussed it now, but we are looking for a home. And we'd
Which
like
I keep trying to push ones in your direction.
Yeah,
And be
I
like, hey,
know.
what about this one? What
and
about this one?
I really appreciate it
Yeah.
because you're helping me a lot. But
there's
we'd like to
discussion-
stay in the Kansas area.
Yeah.
We really would. We've talked about Missouri and Arkansas. We've talked about Wisconsin, which is where my children and grandchildren live.
Yeah.
But, I think all things considered, we're very happy here in Kansas, I got to tell you.
Kansas is a great place. One of the things my dad used to tell me all the time, because he served in the Marine Corps, he says, I've been across the whole entire world. I've worked in a lot of places. I've served in a lot of places, but there is no better place than Kansas. And I know my dad is right. And I know that you and your wife, Karen, have noticed that too. And also you have other kids that are here in Kansas as well.
Right. My you call them my stepkids. They're actually Karen's children, and but they're mine too. I mean, there's no difference at all.
Yeah.
I don't even like to call them stepkids. It's nice to have family close by.
It definitely
really
is.
is.
It is. And then you pretty much have your whole entire support structure that's been built here, and you want to keep something like that to go. But you know what got you in this
Exactly.
whole entire business was the cold, snowy time in up north.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I grew up in upstate New York, north of Buffalo, right around Niagara Falls. And I was there till I was 12 years old. and my interest in weather began. We had a squall line of thunderstorms come over Lake Ontario, and it ripped roofs off of houses and took my father's patio furniture and barbecue grill across the backyard and that kind of thing. But I think that's where my interest in meteorology actually began.
There's usually that one storm
Yeah.
that brings a lot of meteorologists in. And some meteorologists find out later in life, like Lucy. I mean,
Right.
she had a sort of interest in weather, but it really wasn't until she had a physics teacher that told her later on, you know, you might want to consider becoming a meteorologist. And sometimes you have the universe trying to point you in that direction, that this is the
Right.
point that you need to go, but you knew from a young age.
Yeah, I really did. I actually did my first weather forecast. There was a station in Buffalo. I remember
How old were you?
I think I would have been 10 or 11. And he had a deal where you could send in a picture of your house, and then he would record you over the phone giving a weather forecast. And I got to do that. I think I was 10 or 11 years old. But
That's
that's
pretty
where
cool.
my broadcast career actually started.
See, in my family, it was all about storm spotting for here in Sedgwick County.
Oh, right.
And I do remember going over to a competing station when I was a kid. They had an amateur radio at that station, but I never thought that this was something that I was going to do. But then the universe kept pushing me, and I listened, and you listened a lot sooner. And that also determined where you were going to go to college, too.
Oh, it really did. I mean, I consider myself very fortunate, Lisa, because, I mean, I've known many people, and I don't know many people that knew what they wanted to do before they got to high school. But I actually did. And my parents supported me greatly and sent me to college. And but I had a plan, well, I guess since I was in junior high school. So, yeah, it's been a long time.
So would you
It
say...
really is.
Okay, so that time when you were doing that one weather forecast, that was your first gig. Did you get paid for it?
Oh, no.
No.
No, it was,
See, a lot of us don't get paid for
it
that
was-
first gig. We don't.
it was just
We
a
don't.
fun thing.
It was just
It
a fun
really
thing.
was. It really was. And then I kept statistics, temperature statistics for our local post office.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep, and that was...
Did they come to you for that? Or
I kind of they kind of put up a advertisement for it on the
Really?
bulletin board at the post office, and I said, "Oh, I'll do it." So I had to keep track of the temperatures and also the heating degree days, which for those of you that don't know, that is the number of degrees that the mean temperature falls below 65, and it measures how much heat will be required.
to
So-
keep a place warm.
Yeah, exactly. And I kept track of that data for a couple of years, and when I was in junior high school. So
And you did or didn't get paid on that one.
no, I didn't get paid for that either.
We
But,
meteorologists, when we're always starting, we always work cheap. That's for sure. Sometimes
Actually,
not paid at all.
the first job I had was delivering TV guides.
No kidding.
Do you remember TV guides?
Oh, I remember the TV guys.
I don't even think
remember.
they have them anymore, do they?
They probably have it online because you can go to
Yeah.
KSN.com and you can look
Oh,
under
yes.
TV schedule and you can figure out what's going to happen on all of our stations, ours, Telemundo, and so forth. So
But TV guides were a little magazine,
yeah, they were.
maybe about yay big, and they were, I think they were 15 cents a piece.
15
And I
cents.
got a nickel for every one that I delivered. And I think I was 13 or 14 at the time.
You know what Mike Smith was doing when he was younger, right? He was selling his own weather forecast for about a nickel a piece.
Oh, for a nickel a
See,
piece.
you should have. See, if you and Mike should have gotten together at that age and been like, okay, you're going to deliver the TV guide, push a weather forecast to, and get another nickel out of it.
There you go.
Right? Right?
Yeah. Well, maybe I wasn't much of an entrepreneur back then. I
But it's
suppose.
something to think about if you have any kids that are
Yeah,
wanting to
there you
become a
go.
meteorologist. How can they start making that money right now? Learn from us and our mistakes.
Exactly.
But yeah,
Exactly.
no, my first gig too was fourth grade. the reading teacher, Mrs. Stewart at Rex Elementary, she says, okay, all of you guys are going to do a newscast. And Lisa, you're going to be the meteorologist in your group. And so that was the first gig that I ever had. And then in fifth grade,
Fourth grade, huh?
that was fourth grade.
Wow.
But again, the universe was saying do this, but I wasn't listening. And then in fifth grade, so fifth grade would have been the early 90s, not to date myself or anything. But were you still here in Wichita in the early 90s?
I'm
like
doing
91?
the math in my head here.
Were you still in Wichita in 91, or did you?
No. Actually, in 91, I was in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Okay, so
I
you
started
still,
in Milwaukee.
So
and
you
then
still
I went
had not gone over to the private sector in 91. Okay.
Nope.
So in 91, where our weather office is here,
Right.
where the studio is, that was where weather data was.
Yes.
That was where Mike Smith had his private weather forecasting company. So he did that in addition to being on air as chief meteorologist here.
Right.
And I was one of 2 students selected from Freeman Elementary in Hayesville to come to KSN and take a tour.
Oh,
And
nice.
I got to meet Mike Smith when I was in 5th grade. And I remember the T-shirt that I had on that had a picture of a tornado on it, and I think it was probably the Heston tornado of 1990.
Oh, yes.
And it said, Toto, I think we're back in Kansas.
Oh,
and
you
I
remember that.
I remember that. And there was actually a teacher here in Sedgwick County. And if I go to visit her class on April 26th, she is always wearing that shirt. And she only wears that on April 26th because she also went through that tornado that I went through being in Hayesville.
April 26, 1991.
Do you
A
remember
day
some of
that
those
will
big
live
days?
in infamy.
Do you remember some of those big tornado days? The days of the Heston tornado, the 91 tornado?
Oh, yeah, and Greensburg and Joplin, which isn't in Kansas, but still,
Yeah.
that was very noteworthy. It's interesting. You mentioned that Mike had his weather company that he started called Weather Data, and it was in the same location that I work right now.
Yeah. It is.
That's right.
You
The
came
KSN Weather Center is in the exact
spot.
same spot.
You came full circle.
Yeah.
You really did. If you were to look at all of the different storms that you have covered, the different tornadoes, what is the one that probably sticks out most in your mind?
Probably April 29th, 2022, Andover tornado. And the reason I say that...
Just from a few years ago.
Yeah, because we were on our way back from Wisconsin. We were visiting my kids and my grandkids in Wisconsin. And we got in that evening, and I knew there was, I believe, a high risk that was put out by SPC. And really nothing was going on right when we got home. It was probably, I don't know, 6 in the evening, I think.
Sixers. Well, it was closer to 8 when things really started to unzip and go quite wild.
Right.
We started off with the supercells up in Dickinson County, up
Yes.
near Abilene, and some people stayed back towards the dry line here in Wichita, but there was just such a slim chance of getting just one storm, and that's
Right.
all it took was that one storm. We
And
had
it
stuff
was-
all to the northeast. That's where all the chasers went. But some chasers decided to hold back here.
Well, I live in Derby, just south of Wichita, and it was interesting because I knew that the potential was there. It was so volatile, so unstable, but it was capped until
Capped meaning that there was a lid on top of the atmosphere
Right.
that suppresses any thunderstorm development.
and we were just waiting and waiting, and then all of a sudden a supercell, it popped up, it developed right over Derby, and when it got north and east of Derby, towards southeast Wichita, I saw it. I saw it. My daughter called me up. She lives in the same apartment complex. She called me up and said, "Dad, you gotta get over here," because her apartment faces the north, so I could see, where we live, our apartment faces the west.
Yeah.
So we couldn't see the development, but we got up to my daughter's place, and we're looking to the north, and we saw the funnel develop out of the wall cloud and
Right there.
drop right down. And I said, "Oh, somebody's in trouble."
Yeah.
And then You were busy that night.
It was busy. It was a big day. It was the Ronell being in Andover at the time. His apartment complex had been hit.
Oh,
and
it was, yeah.
getting a text and reading it on my watch while I'm doing continuous coverage that said, I got hit, and your heart just sinks.
Yep.
Because here you are doing one job, trying to let everybody know what's happening with this storm, with this
Right.
tornado, and then at the same time, you're being a friend, you're being a colleague, and you're like, okay, what can I do to help? You know, what do you need? And so we were all kind of torn a little bit in different directions that evening. But yeah, that is one tornado day that we'll never forget. And then, of course, this year with the tornado emergencies for Greensburg and for Plevna.
Plevna, yeah, that was really scary. And my colleague Jack Maney he was right next to it.
He was.
And he's told me to this day that was probably the most intense situation he's ever been in.
It was.
He
It
was
definitely
out in
was.
Storm Tracker, of course.
He was in Storm Tracker,
Yeah.
and to have a tornado emergency, something like that is not issued every single day.
No, it is not.
And I'm going to end this podcast on what meteorologist Jack Maney had said. And you weren't here that day. It was just a few days ago. And he said to me, he just kind of sat back in his seat and he said, man, I'm going to miss that guy. And you know what? We all are going to miss you so much because you are just a light and a wonderful forecaster and friend to have with us.
That's very kind. The feeling is mutual. I'll miss you and Lucy and Renelle and Jack very much. And
great
everybody else here at KSN. All been so kind and respectful to me.
All right. Well,
They really treated the old guy good.
well, whatever you do, don't be a stranger and know that you've always got a home here and you're always welcome back.
Well, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody, wish meteorologist Jack Boston a farewell onto your next chapter in your life of retirement.
right.
And
That's right.
and I'll definitely be talking to Karen. I'll be talking to your family. So
Oh,
wonderful,
we're
wonderful family.
friends forever. Don't
That's
worry.
right. We are. I'll help you find a place to live. That's for sure.
And you have been.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Listen to Lisa. We'll be back for another one here in a few days. Everybody, take care.
Bye-bye.